Now let's do comparatives and superlatives. Comparative and superlative adjectives. First, we'll look at adjectives that only have one syllable. You can see here, one syllable. One. For example, tall, old, long, smart, large, wise, big, and fat. These are all adjectives that only have one syllable. So usually we just add er to compare. Comparative, right? So for example, tall becomes taller, old, older, long, longer, and smart, smarter. So let's check out some examples I put here. John, 200 centimeters, and Adam, 180 centimeters. So John is taller than Adam. It's a comparison. I'm comparing. The second example, Samantha's hair and Sarah's hair. We can see Samantha has longer hair than Sarah. So Samantha's hair is longer than Sarah's hair. Or if you wanted, you could just say is longer than Sarah's. And another example, an example of this rule here. Look, I included some different situations. So we have big is a big example of this. So B-I-G, B-I-G-G-E-R. We have a double consonant, okay? Don't worry about the rule, just try to remember these two examples for now. Bigger and fatter, okay? So the rule is consonant, vowel, consonant, B-I-G. You need to double the final consonant. So it becomes B-I-G-G-E-R. You don't just add E-R, you also need to double the consonant. So it's B-I-G-G and then E-R. Or fat, F-A-T. Consonant, vowel, consonant. So I need to double this consonant and it becomes F-A-T-T-E-R. And we can see an example of that here. Brazil, the pizza here on the whiteboard, and Ireland, I did a good map of Ireland. So Brazil is bigger than Ireland. Brazil is much bigger than Ireland, okay? If you want, you can say Brazil is much bigger than Ireland because there's a big difference, right? So Brazil is much bigger than Ireland. And now, time for two syllables. So careful, boring, tired, stupid. Adjectives that have two syllables. So usually we just add more or we put more before the adjective to make it comparative. Okay, so careful becomes what? Becomes more careful. Boring, more boring. Tired, more tired. Stupid, more stupid. Okay, so that's the way it goes. And here's an example for you. Math is more boring than biology. I apologize if you like maths or if you're a maths teacher. It's just an example, okay? So math is more boring than biology in terms of high school or school subjects. In American English, they say math. In British English, we say maths. So I would say maths is more boring than biology, but lots of people in the world would also say math is more boring than biology. Or maybe some people would say biology is more boring than maths. Okay, I don't know what people think. But you need to be careful in this situation. So if you have a two-syllable adjective that ends in Y, like happy, for example, in that situation you need to erase the Y, delete the Y, get rid of the Y, no more Y, and you replace it with I-E-R. Okay, so our examples, happy becomes happier. So we have our Y and we get rid of the Y, we erase the Y and we replace it with I-E-R. And you can see the same thing with all of these examples. Angry, angrier. Angry, we have Y. In the comparative, we have I-E-R. We replace the Y with I-E-R. Busy, busier. Pretty, prettier, etc., etc., etc. So an example, here are my parents, my mother and my father. They are both angry, but my father is angrier than my mother. My father is angrier than my mother. And with 3 syllables, it's super easy. So if there are 3 or more syllables, for example, difficult, important, interesting, or interesting, okay? Difficult, important, and the pronunciation interesting. It actually has 3 syllables in the most common pronunciation. Interesting, 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 interesting. So difficult, important, and interesting. All right, we just need to add more. So more difficult, more important, or more interesting. And an example, food is more important than video games. So when you spend your money, you need to buy food first, and then you can buy video games. Food is more important than video games, all right? And then we have some irregulars. Good is better. So Cristiano Ronaldo is better than Lionel Messi. Just an example. It's not my real opinion, okay? And next, bad is worse, okay? So it's easy to remember because good and bad are opposites. And they are both irregulars. Good is better and bad is worse. Worse. So for example, the weather in Ireland is better. It is not better. The weather in Ireland is worse. Certainly worse. The weather in Ireland is worse than the weather in Spain. The weather in Ireland is worse than the weather in Spain. And another example, far and further. So the final example, I made a little sign here. It says Moscow is 4,876 kilometers away and New York is 1,000 kilometers away. So Moscow is further from here than New York. Far is further, not more far. It's irregular. So Moscow is further from here than New York. Moscow is further from here than New York. So better, worse, and further are your 3 irregulars that you need to remember.